Greetings, TTRPG seafaring folk, and welcome to a Casters and Castles one-shot. If you are interested in what is going on, don't hesitate to use the commands in chat like hashtag or exclamation point Discord and exclamation point schedule to see what all the other fun is about. A special thanks to all you lovely folks already in the Casters and Castles community. This one's for you. My name is Zoe Trooper, and if you would please allow me to be your guide as I spin you a story of 4 souls fated to die on the high seas. Who are these souls, you ask? Well, I'll just let them introduce themselves. First off, we have Bull Skunk. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and who you will be playing this evening.
Well, hi. My name's Jeff. I'm a Overwatch caster. I also host a podcast every Friday that deals with Overwatch Path to Pro. And today I'm going to be playing Woody, who is a human, kind of a nerdy individual, a little bit smaller than you might expect for a pirate to be. Wearing a pair of glasses with one side is a sphere and the other side is kind of got a flat top on. It looks like he's permanently got like one eyebrow raised. But a quieter character that is quicker with his head, I'd say, than more brawn style.
A thinker, less of a puncher,
Exactly.
I guess?
Exactly. Yes. More thinking, less stabbing.
Sounds like a good start to this pirate crew. Now I'll turn the attention to Corbic. Who are you, and what sort of dastardly pirate are you playing?
Dastardly pirate, indeed. I'm Corbic. I cast Overwatch. I also cast Rainbow Six Siege. I do some other stuff. I've played a lot of D&D. Very excited to be here. And today I be portraying Bolg the Bosun, the bugbear bosun, no less. A career pirate who's been up on this ship for at least 10 years afore the mast and is responsible for discipline. He also happens to be a cleric of Bane, which of course makes sense, being that is the evil god of order and what have you. Unfortunately, the ship no longer exists, but discipline, it remains an important concept, so it does.
I'm still scared.
As he should be.
I'm intimidated, yeah.
I do like that we have the boss joining with us in the afterlife. You gotta watch yourself even there. Next up, we have Drosi Cat. I have been informed that she is a bog witch, according to the overlay. Tell us a bit about yourself and your character.
Well, right now I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I won't get too much into that, but speaking of Overwatch, I used to be involved in Overwatch, not so much anymore. And today I'll be playing the character Orellana, or for short, who is a navigator, and she's a wizard who she wants to learn everything that comes across her hands, but she's also kind of bratty, and kind of like expects to be always right.
We do appreciate a know-it-all on our ship. Someone's got to know it all, right? Like, the other pirates have no clue.
My intelligence score be quite low.
Yarr. Finally, we have JuggleGod. It's nice to meet you. For the folks at home, let them know who you are and who you will be playing tonight.
Sure. So my name is Warren. I'm a former research scientist turned professional juggler turned esports caster. I mostly got my start in Overwatch. I cast Valorant, Rocket League, and Roller Champions as well. And tonight I'm going to be playing Chipethu Fallhorn, who goes by the not so affectionate nickname Cap. His crewmates tease him about his dream to one day own his own ship and be a captain, because he is pretty low on the pecking order. He is a gunner's mate. He's a barbarian. He was born to 2 wealthy wizards in Waterdeep, but discovered the joys of the rage at an early age and went down that route instead of following his parents down their magical lifestyle and path. So he's been on the ship for just a few years now, one of the more recent crew, and yeah, he's more the brawn, for sure, less of the brains. He speaks with his fists and whatever he can reach.
So, do you rage while loading the cannons?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I'm trying to figure out out how that would work, probably to no one's advantage.
Well, no, like the number of backs of the cannons that he has blown out by just throwing the cannonball in, it's too many to count.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just
You put poor Woody to work more times than he would care to admit, having to go repair all the holes in the ship thanks to your rage loading.
Rage loading. Oh,
well, you know,
perfect.
you don't get the rage load, you don't get the rage fire. So
Well, with that aside,
Sorry, we're already throwing you off the
I know,
rails.
right?
Sorry.
it's already off the rails.
you know what? I started this, and it's fine. But again, I would like to thank all of you for watching tonight, and I look forward to entertaining you all. So, without further ado, I'm going to set the scene. There's a dragon. Just for everyone's
Oh, yeah.
reference.
That's what every player wants to hear from their DM in the very first sentence.
I know, right? I was like, wait, what?
Oh yeah.
And then I remembered what we all
tough.
chatted about
Yeah.
before the show.
The little baby wyvern. But
Yes.
anyways, continuing on. Today didn't go as you imagined it would. Your ship, a privateering vessel called the Misery, pulled out of a poor port town and onto adventure when it was blindsided by a ship from His Majesty's Navy known as the Fair Maiden's Hand. This was no ordinary ship. This one was known for ruthlessly taking down pirate vessels, and today was a lot like the others for the Fair Maiden's Hand as she tore the Misery to shreds. That isn't to say the Misery didn't put up a fair fight. She limped along for hours, and the spirited crew kept the fight going longer than one might expect. But in the end, the Fair Maiden was victorious. The waves crash, dimly in what is left of your few synapses left in your... wow. The few synapses left firing in your waterlogged brain, you can hear the cheers and the few cannons firing off in victory as your vessel sinks into the depths below. They say the life of a pirate is not an easy one, but it certainly is a short one. And as the light finally begins to dim in your eyes, you know the unequivocal truth that better than anyone. What awaits you on the other side of the veil, you're not certain, but whatever you expected certainly wasn't this. You're in a tavern. The sort of tavern you'd find in a seaside town, with stuffed swordfish hanging above the mantel of the fireplace and fishermen's nets that are too frayed for continued use, adorning the walls. One might suspect that those nets may be the only thing holding these boards together. There are patrons. It is a tavern, after all. You look around and you do see a few familiar faces. Your crewmates from... what was the ship called again? The Misery? Yes, that sounds about right. Right now it feels as though you're thinking through a fog, but the bits and pieces come back to you. There are a few other faces dotted around the room that you don't recognize. All of them have their eyes downcast as they look into their glasses of mead. One patron even carving his name into the table. All of them, that is, except one. A maiden wearing a very strange gentleman's vest, undershirt, and jacket with long coat tails. It looks like she might belong to as a ringmaster in a circus. Not here. But all the same, she stands near the bar, cleaning out a metal stein and glancing at the newcomers. While you might be under the impulse to approach her when you take a step into the tavern, it sort of lists to the side, taking on water. It's nothing too severe, but you quickly come to realize that this tavern is a leaky vessel floating on the high seas. If that wasn't strange enough, there are no doors, only portholes looking out into the ocean. You don't remember waking in here? You don't remember walking in? And slowly, with the ebb and flow of the waves, the tavern corrects itself and the patrons make sure to stop their drinks from toppling onto the floor. It's a new environment. How do you all react to this change in situation when you were just sinking moments ago?
I think Woody's just trying to take in the surroundings right now. I think first thing would try to notice how many people were in here. Are they scattered? Is anybody talking to each other? Is everybody just kind of keeping to themselves? What's the noise level of this place? Is it kind of solemn?
It's very solemn, deathly quiet. The only thing that looks excited to see all of you is a brownish gray wolfhound sitting in the corner near the bar. She's just sort of wagging her tail.
So, I would, Cap would look around for, like, anything close to him. He's definitely a little freaked out by this, and you can see it on his face. And so to make himself feel a little more comfortable, he's looking around for anything that he could put in his hands to potentially use as a weapon. So if there's a glass near him, if there's a dartboard on the wall, if there, what does he see that he can grab a hold of so that he feels a little bit protected?
Well, you are in luck. Whatever weapons and armor and belongings you had in life seem to have carried on with you here. Do you have a sword that you carry with you?
Yeah, he's got just a short he's just got a short sword that he kept with him. Nothing major on his body, so that'd be all that he has on him.
Well,
So yeah, realizing that he actually has all of his stuff, he feels a little bit foolish now.
That's okay.
And,
You've just
yeah.
went through a shock, right?
Yeah. And so he kind of leans back a little bit in his seat. Tries to kind of push himself up against a wall or whatever is behind him so he can kind of see everyone and everything at the same time.
Sure. As you look around at the patrons, there is, of course, the bartender, who is the fanciest thing in here. But there is what appears to be a grizzled old fisherman. His clothes are extremely dirty and tattered. There is the wolfhound, which I mentioned earlier. And there is a younger man. His clothing looks a little more like a pirate, but it also looks like clothing that someone might wear from ages long past. Like it went out of fashion 40, 60 years ago.
Well, Bolg is happy that he's not naked, and this isn't the front of his fifth grade class. So that's good. He's still got everything upon him, and he's, gonna look around angrily because this is the kind of thing that makes Bolg angry, and he's just gonna get, angry. Hey, this ain't right, Hark! Listen to me. Which one of you grubbers be in charge of this place? For there's a reckoning to be had. This ain't where Bolg's supposed to be.
I think hearing Bolg's voice would kind of pull Woody out of, is this a dream state? A similar thought of, am I awake or dreaming? But then there's a familiar, intimidating voice coming from the bosun that Woody has heard a few times before, and he's going to snap up. Would he recognize the crewmates upon this point? How large a place is this? Do we acknowledge each other as there? Are we within eyesight of each other? Hearing that, my sight would be drawn to that. Is there an acknowledgement that, wait a minute, that is Bolg?
Yes.
Maybe start putting pieces together.
You all can view each other. You've actually kind of showed up in the same area, standing almost shoulder to shoulder, looking into the bar itself. Behind you directly is a wall, no door. You're not sure how you got in. But yes, you can definitely recognize each other. And when Bolg says Bolg's not supposed to be here, you definitely pick that up.
Mike, did you say we're fairly close to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, then in that case...
shoulder almost.
Okay, cool. Okay. Then in that case, I'm going to poke Bolg pretty forcefully on the shoulder. As if I don't really believe quite yet that he's there.
You dare to lay hands upon a superior officer, Mr. Foulhorn? I'll be taking them hands from ye.
Yeah, you've threatened that before. But I didn't know if you were real. I just got here, too. Could have been a ghost or something. A spirit.
Well, I think we all be spirits here in this place, my lad. But I'll give you an excuse this time. It's good to see some fellow messmates here in this strange, foul place, and also reinforces Bolg's opinion that he's not supposed to be here. This was not my afterlife. No offense to you, Mr. Tullamore, or Mr. Fallhorn, or Miss Orlana I see over there as well.
What makes you think we're in the afterlife? We're here. My spirit's intact. My body is here. I can reach my sword. I can grab my hammer. As my eye is drawn to the person carving into the table. I think this is what is going to stand out to Woody the most, is that after scanning around, this person carving into the table has... Woody's become fixated on this. And I would like to know what they're carving, and noticing that it's disappearing as the carving is happening. And then thinking about Bolg's words. We're definitely not... We're not in the material plane, that's for sure.
Nay, that be true. Bolg be sure we're dead, because Bolg distinctly has some sort of hazy memory about being stabbed and clubbed multiple times on the deck of the Misery. Also, the ship not being here. That's an indicative, I think, of us being somewhere we're not supposed to be, and me in particular, for this was not the afterlife that was promised to me. He looks around angrily, gives everyone the stink eye. The Bolg stink eye. 30 years
Smartest
before
thing
the
I've ever heard you
mast.
say, Bosun.
Orlana, as this conversation is kind of going along around you, what are your thoughts on what has happened? You're not coming through.
Oh no.
She's been
Can I
struck silent.
Can I see anything outside these portholes?
Yes, you can. As you look out the portholes, there is nothing but sea as far as you can view it. I almost said sea as far as you could see, and I caught myself. But on the horizon, there is very much like these darkened storm clouds, looking like they're going to break at some point and just take this little tavern up in the torrential fall. However, that seems to be kept at bay for now, but if you go to the other side of the tavern and look in each porthole to try and figure out where you are in the bearings, you cannot see any land, just sea.
Okay, and is it like night or day? Like, can I make out any like stars or the sun or anything like that?
It's very, it's hard to tell because the downcast clouds make it very dark outside, but you're not sure it's nighttime. It feels like if it was nighttime, it'd be way darker.
Okay.
I think Woody is going to approach the person with a knife going into the table. Just kind of like, I'm gonna settle this. When he walks up, ahoy, sailor! Where is this tavern? Where are we now?
He's currently scratching something into the table, and you can make out the letters C-O-N, but he's stopped. Like, his dagger is shaking a little bit as he tries to recollect the rest of the name, his memory playing tricks on him, but he just sort of tilts his head up to you and says, "Bugger off, can't you see I'm busy here?"
Seeing all this happen, Cap is gonna get kind of frustrated and walk towards the bar. Is there someone standing behind it?
Yeah, there's a lady who she's just finished cleaning a stein, and she sets it on the counter and she goes, "Welcome to the last drop. What can I get you today?"
He checks his pockets to see if he has any money.
She kind of waves her hand and says, "Money has no purpose here. Drinks are free."
In that case, let me get around for everyone over here. And he gestures to his crew.
She smiles, this very broad smile, and says, "Everyone, round of drinks." And to your surprise, no one seems enthused. But she pours it anyway and offers you your drink first.
I'm gonna smell it, See if it smells normal, because he's freaked out. He is still on edge, and he desperately wants a drink right now because he really needs to calm himself. But he is worried.
Yeah, it doesn't smell strange.
All right. He takes a sip, and as long as it doesn't taste weird.
It is flavorless. The sensation that you get, you'd have to drink quite a bit, but the sensation of feeling drunk does not come when you drink this beverage.
And so instead of finishing the drink, he's just gonna pull it away from his face and let the rest of it pour on the ground. Drop the cup and walk back to his friends. And say, this place sucks.
Like, go ahead and push.
On to the next pub.
I think they're watering
Bullhorn
down the drinks.
I'm gonna draw my patented mace, the Bulganator, and take a step towards the bar. I'll say, by the teats of Talos, then, woman, is it you who be responsible for this place? Because if it is, you've made a large mistake here. I was promised a fine upper middle management position in the Banehold for a lifetime of service, not rotting away in some half-bit flea-ridden tavern.
I suppose you could say I'm in charge of this place, but I'm merely a curator. I lead souls through. Where you go from here is up to your own strength of character and will.
The
I
word
just pass
strength.
I just grab one of the steins from Cap and just go and find a table and sit. Like, without making any eye contact with anybody. Just leaving Bolg up there to argue with the bartender.
Aye. This don't usually be part of the teachings of the Church of Bane when we cover the afterlife portion. Nobody seems to mention the last drop or test of will and strength. So I'm wondering how ye be injecting yourself into the process here. 30 years I've served before the mast, and I've never heard of no last drop.
Oh, you see, the last drop is special. I serve the goddess Moran. You've probably never heard of her because her area of expertise is quite limited. Anyone that dies in her territory, however, becomes one of her flock.
Bolg does not care for this.
I can't fly. How the hell am I gonna be a part of a flock?
Do we appear to be birds to you?
Right?
None of us flock. This is ridiculous. You've got some explaining to do, as does your goddess. Do you think Bane, the Lord of the Banehold, is going to let you pull one of his servants into your strange and tasteless bosoms?
He has no choice in the matter, unfortunately. This is a
Oh,
deal.
you'll be regretting that. Hark, Bolg! Strike her down!
Do you,
All right, he's cooking something up.
do you actually
All right, it'll be a matter of
hurt her?
time. No, I call upon Bane to hurt her, but
Oh, okay.
apparently his voicemail is overfilled. He's busy.
You get the sensation that there is an answer, but also the sensation that she's right. This is no longer Bane's jurisdiction, as it were.
This ain't the rules, and Bolg don't appreciate those who go breaking the rules. And he'll stalk away for a second and mope in a corner.
At that, Cap is gonna lean in and said, I just heard the word strength and break, and I am losing my patience. So unless you want me to test my strength on something in here and there's not gonna be much left, then I suggest you start answering some of that guy's questions.
Aye. Well said, Mr. Fallhorn. Stand to break things.
He raises a fist.
Well, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Where's this test of strength? I'm getting tired of holding my hand up.
The test of
Aye.
strength is in below. I can lead you there if you want. But what's the rush? Why not just spend time in the tavern for a bit? Take a load
At
off.
hearing that, like about halfway through her senses, he just starts beating the planks on the floor, trying to break through them.
Aye, calm yourself, Mr. Fallhorn. She doesn't mean, I think, literally busted through the planks is the test of strength.
Well, be a little clearer next time. He just storms back over to his chair and sits down in a huff next to Bulg.
She looks almost bored. Like, there's been people that have destroyed this place before, trying to find a way out, and she's just like, this is how it happens when new people get here.
So how did we end up here under her territory?
Oh, by chance, mostly. Miran owns a small section of the ocean, and as far as I can tell, that you all have managed to just die in the right spot at the right time.
So it's all by luck. Bad luck.
Or good luck.
Woody will look
Bad
over his
luck.
shoulder at this. I don't think this is by chance. This is by our own doing.
Don't look
What
at me.
be saying? Well, you are the navigator, Miss Orlana. Did you lead us here, lead us astray on purpose? Not that I would normally be
nothing.
questioning your prowess.
I know nothing about this lady or this place. I don't even know where we are.
Well, it's not good when the navigator be saying that.
Never something you want to hear from your navigator.
No, last time I had a navigator say where they didn't know where we were, we ended up 7 days in the Johnny boat. I ended up eating my crewmates. On day 3.
He,
She kind of like gestures outside the windows and she's just like, have you ever seen any of this ever before? Because I haven't.
it's called water.
These clouds are foreboding. This does not look like the seas that we came off of.
Mm-mm.
Yes, the water is... The horizon is in the same spot, but the water is not even the same color. The clouds are
Weird.
strange.
You might
don't like-
also... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You might also note that the day that the Misery was attacked, it was sunny out.
Oh.
This is out of character. The person in the ringmaster outfit.
She's the bartender.
Oh, she's the bartender.
Mhm.
Okay. Never mind then.
Well, Bolg accepts the basic premise that she might have swindled Bane out of a well-deserved soul of a hard-working servant. So ye best be explaining, by the way, accepts but does not forgive. I think that's a key point here. But ye best be explaining how we be moving on from this place, for Bolg has no desire to stay here long, drinking ye grog and hanging around with the general riffraff of this place.
Well, with that, the ringmaster will move to the side of the tavern and open up a hatch leading down below into a cellar, where normally in a tavern you would have casks of wine, any kind of salted porks, things like that. However, if you are to look down this cellar door, you will see nothing but water and a few casks and buoys floating on the top. But there are stairs going down. The journey begins here. And this is how you will find moving on.
So wait, are you saying like there's water that's like leaked into the ship that the casks are kind of floating on? Is that what
Yeah,
okay.
there's stairs going down into the ocean from this tavern. Basically, it's just water.
Woody is going to finish off the last of his tasteless drink and calmly put the stein back on the table where he had been carving a logo in with one of his tools and watching it disappear behind each of the lines, and just casually walks over. His quiet demeanor. What'd you find? There's not actually a way out of here. This has to be a trick.
I'd be thinking the same thing. For someone who's broken the rules so terribly once would do so again. A fine observation, Mr. Tullamore. Volg's gonna turn to the old sailor captain that's hanging around, the one that looks like a fisherman or whatever, and he says, "Aye, ye old tar! Tell a fellow old shipmate, is this being a trap? Have you yourself gone down into this bilge they've called a cellar?"
The grizzled old fisherman closes a locket that he's been holding in his hands and just nods to you and goes, I can't go back down there, though. Can't do it.
And why be that?
What'd you see?
Myself, my pain, my regrets. Nothing but loss down there. Some people don't make it back.
What are you, just gonna nope out and go sit right back down?
I've heard of a cave on a place called Dagoba that sounds a lot like this, where you've got to confront your fears and darkness and whatnot.
Ah, fears! I laugh at fears! And I take a step down towards, the water.
Sure. Nobody gives you a look like you're doing anything weird. This is obviously something that happens from time to time. But there is a waiting room in this purgatory for those that are either too afraid or unwilling to take the plunge, as it were. And do you actually, go into the water?
No, I just wanted to take, one step down because he's talking a big game. He's talking about not having any fear, but he is freaked out right now. He is definitely overcompensating, right? He is putting on a show to try and help, to build himself up too a little bit. So he is very, he takes one step and waits a moment to see what happens.
Give me a deception
I wouldn't
roll.
do that, Rage Loader.
Rage loader.
Deception check, you said?
Yes, please.
Should be
First roll.
Come on.
So for those at home, that is a 10. Unfortunately, it's not enough to fool the clever ringmaster, and she goes, "What are you afraid of? You're dead, and a little water's not going to hurt you."
He is not okay with the fact that she has called him out for being afraid of something. He is really, really not okay with this.
You could try to cover it up if you wanted, or
Oh yeah. He's going to. He is not going to admit his fear right now, especially not in the face of his crew, right? Or, his compatriots here. So instead, what he's gonna do, he's gonna turn around and be like, "Y'all just gonna sit there and wallow like this idiot?" And he points over to the fisherman who was talking about being afraid.
Yeah, the fisherman just kind of cups his head and goes,
Aye, stop your bawling. Your years at sea should have hardened you to this. No, well said, Mr. Fallhorn, well said. Bolg's afraid of no challenge. Let it never be said that Bolg runs from a good fight. Mr. Tullamore, Miss Orlana, the ship has sunk, the misery is no more. I no longer have any contractual hold over ye. There are no obligations here. I will not force ye down that foul hole. But Mr. Fallhorn and I think, are going for a little swim down there, and you're more than welcome to join us.
I will judge you, Chip says.
I will or won't?
I will. As he takes another step down a little more tentatively. He's not as sure on his feet. He's shaking a little bit.
With a heavy sigh, Woody's going to get up from the table, walk up next to Miss Aura, and I don't know about these two lugheads. What do you make of this? You've actually got a head on your shoulders.
Well, Orlana's kind of bristled about their attitude over it. Like, she's kind of like annoyed that they're going to leave them up here. So she's just like, well, I think we should go down there, but I think we should let them go first.
Quiet nod. Well, after you, Cap. Why don't you go ahead, brave man?
He grumbles inaudibly something about don't make fun of me losing my head. In my backstory, a cannon just took off my head before the fight even started. Cap had a very not legendary ending to his time. He had just gotten out of bed.
Very abrupt.
Yeah, very abrupt, very inconsequential in a way. So
I vaguely remember seeing that.
Exactly. He mumbles about that as he starts to stomp down the stairs. He's not making any attempt to be sneaky about this. He is making himself known.
Okay. Well, when your neck hits that bit of water and you start to submerge your head, how do you handle this? Most people, when their head gets dunked underwater, they hold their breath or they do something like that. Or do you just bull rush in without thinking about it, or do you take that one final gasp?
Well, I realize that I'm probably laid down a lot by my clothes, so I'm quickly gonna take off my cloak and a couple of things just to make sure that I'm not waterlogged. But then, yeah, I've been at the sea long enough. I know I know what to do. So I'm gonna take a big breath, grab my short sword, and whatever else I can find near me in my other hand. Is there anything else close by?
I mean, you could grab a barrel. You could grab there's fishing nets. There might be a pike.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a fishing net, a smallish one off the wall. Gonna take a deep breath and then go under.
Okay. You notice as you take this breath, air doesn't fill your lungs, and it's more of a muscle attempt on your end and less of a functional thing. And as you finally plunge your head under, it's less that the air leaves your lungs and more like the water just simply fills it. You are not floating to the top, and you will notice the stairs go down and down into the murky depths, and you don't need to breathe.
You think that's air you're breathing?
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly come back up and be like, not gonna lie, this is weird.
What did you see,
What be
Rangewater?
weird, Mr. Fallhorn?
Looks like we don't need to breathe air. And he's just gonna duck himself back under the water and continue stomping down the stairs.
Well, we do be dead, so it would follow that breathing water not be a necessary prerequisite for life when one is not alive.
Bolg, I'm still not sure I'm sold on that theory. Leaning over, what is this? Is there smells coming out from this cellar?
You get the regular smell of the sea, which is salt, that little bit of seaweed rot. Nothing untoward.
Can we see below the waterline?
You can't. It is... Well, when you go in, you can see... You ever been diving? You can see around you in 10 feet or whatever. But if it's really dark water, below that, you have to actually venture. That's kind of how this is. It's very dark water. And as you travel down these staircases, you will be able to see just what's around you.
So, Bolg is going to attempt to cast a spell, divine spell, right? So it requires some sort of godly intervention, right? So he's going to try and cast light on his holy symbol that he wears on the outside of his coat. How does that go? Does that work?
That works absolutely fine. You do get the feeling that it comes from your previous deity helping you in the way that he can. But it
Okay.
is... You feel as though that this is a last kind of assistance. Like, once
Oh.
you leave this purgatory, this god will no longer be there for you.
Like once I leave the bar, or
Purposely vague.
that's disturbing, no less.
Purposely
But I
vague.
cast
on my
light
end.
on my holy symbol. It's gonna work. I'm gonna look over at the bartender and be like, "Ha! See, Bolg has not forgotten his true servant just yet. He's cooking something up. You just wait." And then I'm gonna head down the stairs and follow Mr. Fallhorn into the cold, unforgiving water.
Does everyone else follow suit?
Still not sold. Woody's gonna walk over to the matron. So that's the only way out of here. So there is a way out of here.
Yeah, and that is your first step. There will be many steps on the way to salvation, forever
God.
life.
There is no salvation. No, no, no. Oh, ugh. All right. Or I guess we must. Woody will tentatively follow suit and follow Bolga down.
It looks like the only way.
Well,
Can you create any light as well?
I believe I can. Hmm.
Might be good. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe it won't work.
Um,
I don't think my hooded lantern's going to work underwater. So
so I have
No,
dancing
probably not.
lights. I can set those up. They're an area of 120 feet.
sure. Yeah. That would definitely help the way down, I think.
Okay. So wrong one. There.
Woody will let Orlana cast the lights and kind of lead the way. She's the navigator after all.
Aye.
Well, all four of you have now taken the plunge. Down this winding staircase you go. There are no handrails, and in this gloom, the only thing illuminated for you is your next step, save for the light provided by the dancing lights and the deity. But,
I have a question. Sorry.
go ahead.
Really quick.
Yes.
Dark vision? Help at all? Bolg sees 60 feet in darkness.
You can
Just
see a little further. Not that it really helps much, because it is like you are
Murky.
currently on a journey to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
And it is a long journey. It feels almost at times that you're walking forever. But eventually you will hit the seafloor and you will see a collection of houses not too far from you. They are dilapidated, covered in kelp, and completely unfit to live in. Some have roofs that are completely caved in, and you get the sensation that it is, or was, a small fishing village. There are barrels, planks, trash, all manners of things strewn about, as if the inhabitants simply do not care.
Are
Do you see
there?
any signs of life? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna ask the same question.
Both of you can give me a some sort of roll. Perception?
Perception check. Okay. Perception. Oh, not great at those. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. That's gonna be a 6.
14.
Got
So,
him.
You will all notice this eventually, but Orlana is the one that notices it first. it takes a moment for your eyes to kind of adjust, but you begin to see piles of trash kind of moving along the seafloor. But it's not trash. These are people, or rather, they were people. Now they seem to be more like fish or living coral. Some have gills and others have barnacles growing on their body. Some have seaweed for hair, but all of them have kind of these shells that they carry upon their back, and these shells are made out of garbage, trains, furniture, perhaps a giant pack of some sort, and they move slowly, the weight of what they are carrying them, keeping them at a snail's pace. Each one looks pretty miserable, or enraged in some way or another, jealously guarding their belongings from each other.
By the briny balls of Bane, Bolg thinks that we're seeing some sort of ironic punishment being acted out before our eyes.
No! Not at all.
Well, Bolg's gonna go, towards him. He's got the Bolganator out, ready to go, and he's gonna walk towards the nearest of these wretches, let's call them. That's the kind word. And he'll say, I ask ye, wretch, undersea dweller, what be the circumstances of this torment upon which you've been racked?
So the one you approach, his pack is uniforms and weapons of some sort of platoon or army. Each, there seems to be a helmet and medal of honor and a sword. There must be 20 or 30 of these things, weighing him down to the point where he has to crawl in the sand. His face is sunken in, one eye is missing, and his hair is just sort of like wispy algae. The weapons and gear are too rusted and covered in sea life to be of any real use. But that is the person you run into. You asked what manner of punishment this was?
Aye.
He kind of sighs through grunts, great effort, as he crawls across the seafloor, and he goes, I carry the gear of my fallen comrades. This is my duty.
Aye, so you left your comrades to die, and now you must carry the weight of their deaths. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, that is what I must do.
Pitiable fate. Pitiful indeed. Bolg sympathizes with ye as much as a bugbear raised as a pirate can sympathize with anyone. I am genuinely curious, though, foul wretch. Where be we? What is this horrible place?
It's the village. We've lived here a long time now. We live here.
If you call it living.
Yes.
That one's off camera. Anyway.
Yes, we live here in our regrets.
A dire fate.
Do we recognize any of the insignias or any of the symbols on any of the stuff that he carries?
Oh goodness. You can give me a history check.
Okay. Whoop, which one's history? Is that wisdom?
Int.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, that's a good
Whoops.
one.
Oh!
I double clicked. 21?
Ooh.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you would actually recognize the nation from which all of these weapons come from. It is a defunct nation. It was conquered maybe 120 years ago now.
Okay, so it's old.
It's old, yes. But obviously at one point this man was a commander, he had a platoon, and he lost a great battle. And now he kind of carries that weight with him.
Cap is gonna lean over. to Bulg and say like, ha, imagine losing. Oh, and then he's gonna back away a little bit.
Aye, Mr. Fallhorn. Aye, I can imagine losing perfectly well.
Ugh.
Ugh.
How many of these tortured souls with these shells on their backs do we see down here in this sunken fishing village?
There's quite a few, but there's some that stand out more to you than anyone else. For example, you in particular would be drawn to this this scrawny young man who is somehow able to hold up this great big pack of food and life comforts. There's blankets, there's pillows, there's bread, but none of this food looks appetizing, and like everything is kind of rotted away. In his hands, he's holding some sausage links, and again, not appetizing because there's barnacles growing upon them. And occasionally you will see an eel kind of swimming along his pack, eating the food.
How far away is this approachable?
Yeah, he's approachable. None of these people move very quickly, so you don't have to worry
Fair
about
enough. He's not going to outrun me. Woody will walk over and just kind of tentatively, what fate possessed you, sailor? Set. Why do you carry this rotten food?
Well, you see, sir, I was abandoned by the people in my life. They left me with nothing. I had no food, no places to live. Everyone I relied upon just left, and I had to scrounge. And this is all I have. I have to survive off of this.
Yeah, this definitely strikes a chord. And I think the rest of the party would just see Woody standing there, kind of just quiet and staring more at the pile of food than the individual themselves. And in that 1,000-yard stare that you've seen plenty of times from Woody. This is common for this carpenter, but not quite like this. This is deeper, and for Woody's always used to having everything around him is locked down. Always has the awareness of exactly what's going on at all times. This is so foreign and so disturbing. It's leaving him very uncomfortable and kind of frozen in indecision at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd imagine in my head it's kind of separated away from the groups ever so slightly, like not massively away, but I mean perhaps you can shed some clarification on that. That was just the way I was envisioning that.
Bulg is also like super uneasy, especially after talking to the guy with all the army uniforms and stuff. He like is visibly uncomfortable here. He doesn't like this.
Okay.
No good, he says. No good.
His head will suddenly dart up. What about you two? Pointing to Aura and Cap. Who stands out to you? Kind of just pointing at both. And wheels are starting to turn.
Yeah, I look around at the at these pitiful, pitiful creatures. And who stands?
This can't be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Who stands out to you? That is a good question. So
We
the
see
person,
Bull approach the warrior.
the person that stands out to you actually isn't able to carry her regrets with her. You almost don't notice her at first, but there is a giant clamshell in the middle of the town that is tied down by chains. Kelp grows on either side of it, and when you peek into this partially open clamshell, you'll see like the very shadowed half face of a woman. from what you can see, that she was once beautiful, but you have trouble kind of getting a full picture.
Say, this one catches my eye over here. You almost don't notice her. And I'm gonna point over to that shell. Be like, that's not a place I'd like to find myself. You know, referring to the, you know, just the how heavily shackled down that shell is.
Do you talk to her at all?
I'm gonna wait and see who Aura
Sure.
looks at too. Yeah.
So Aura kind of looks around. She kind of sees something that catches her eye, but she sort of pretends that she doesn't. Kind of like, you know, there's a blind spot here. I'm not looking.
That's interesting, because out of all the very out of these people that don't want to be talked to and don't want to share the things on their back, you're the only one confronted by one that actually seems genuinely happy that you're here. It's this old woman. She walks with a notable hunch, and it's not just because she's carrying like furniture and comforters and this giant shell on her back. It's just because of her age. Her eyes are sunken in to the point where you see nothing but black specks, and her hair is this greasy black-green kelp. Despite that, there's a sad smile on her face. You get kind of that comforting old grandmother feel from her, and she hobbles over to you as fast as she can, which is not fast at all, and she goes, "Darling! Hello, darling!"
Oh, so Orlana kind of like backs up and is like, I don't know who you are. Who are you? Keep away from my personal space.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I'm Missy. It's you were so lovely. You were like I was when I was younger.
A hoarder?
No, beautiful. Look, I want to show you some of my things. And she'll start pulling off these, like, necklaces and other things, and she'll, show you a picture of her husband. And she goes, This is my husband, the love of my life. I miss him so much. He's so handsome. And she shows you this. He's a young man, very attractive. But the picture is also old and faded.
So curiosity kind of gets the better of her, and she looks at the picture and she's like, "What happened?"
Oh, he died when we were quite young. We never had children and only married for a few years.
So Orlana kind of like bites her lip and she's like, "Oh, okay," and like she's kind of like at a loss for words at this story.
But look, I have so many other things of his. And she will just start like pulling out like a map he drew once, his favorite pen. This was his left shoe. She just starts sharing all of these things of her long lost lover to you.
Okay, so I'm kind of like looking at them, and like my chest is a little tight. She keeps giving me all these things, but I'm starting to worry if she's setting them at my feet. Like, I'm wondering where she's kind of going with this.
There doesn't seem to be any sort of maliciousness. It's just an old lady that wants to share her life with someone younger. You're not clear she gets many people to talk to, but if you do take anything in your hands for too long, she will demand them back.
Okay. So I kind of like shuffle uneasily and kind of like look around to see how everybody else is faring. Kind of like
Seeing
looking
that
for an out.
everybody has been drawn to an individual, I'm going to look back down at the abandoned, tortured soul at my feet. Do I recognize them in any way? Is there anything familiar about the features of the individual themselves?
No, it's no one you recognize.
Okay.
Bull takes another look. Oh no, Mr. Fallhorn, please, after you.
I do eventually wander over to this woman stuck under the clamshell, and I'll reach under and be like, "What found you here?"
This is my punishment. I wasn't able to save my father after he was murdered, and before he was murdered, rather. And this, I sit here, and I am punished.
He just kind of nods knowingly and runs back over to everyone and says, "We don't want to find ourselves here, I don't think, for too terribly long. There's too much here that strikes a nerve with me."
Yeah, this fate could fall on us all.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna...
No.
No, Bolg agrees, but I'm gonna ask this gentleman with the packs and weapons and whatnot another question. Is he... Who placed you under this burden, me old messmate? Who was responsible for consigning you to this?
He thinks of that for a moment as he's trying to drag himself through the sand and just goes, "I did. This is my punishment."
Aye, but philosophical answers aside, who made you do this? Surely you did not sink yourself to the bottom of the depths and place this pack upon your back, no matter what guilt you carry.
No, nothing like that. I took myself out to sea, got caught in a storm, and when I got here, I found the uniforms of my men, and I carried them with me. I'll always carry them with me.
Rough
When he approaches behind, taps the soldier. We must move on. Leave this poor sailor to his fate.
Bog's good to go. Bog do not care for this place. Not one jot, no. Not
Anxiety
one mizzen.
Just point the way and I'll start walking.
Yeah.
And I looked to Aura. Yeah.
Yeah. Navigator.
Everybody looks at Aura.
Chart us a course away from this accursed place. I have no wish to spend more time with these damned souls that strangely seem to attract individuals to some sort of ironic punishment.
So I kind of look at the other woman and I'm like, "Thank you so much for sharing, but I gotta go. Thank you so much." But as she turns away to join the rest of the party, she kind of puts her hand in a pouch at her side, almost like checking to make sure there's something there.
What would you find there? Like, nothing has been lost that should be there.
It seems like it's a note from somebody.
Yeah, you would
Just
have
a
that.
small piece of paper.
You would have that with you still, if you want to read it.
Oh no, it's not something that she wants to share with anybody.
Okay.
She just wants to make sure it hasn't gone anywhere.
It has not. You still have that with you.
Looking around, is there an obvious course through this village? A path that leads to the middle of the village? Or is it just kind of random buildings and structures around? Is this an infinite void on all sides? Or is there a sense of a way forward?
There is something. It seems to be a ship on the bottom of the sea, not too far from here. But as you all kind of, like, want to get out and you're trying to get to another place far from here, I'm nervous. I wrote a sea shanty. Do you all want me to sing it, or were you afraid of me singing?
Yes.
Give us a song, Dungeon Master.
Oh, God. Okay.
A
So-
fine ditty.
In unison, this little town begins to sing, and they go, "Heave ho, wayward soul, your ship has crashed upon the shoal. Your bodies fell into the drink, no one to mourn ya as ya sink. Heave ho, wayward souls, the Reaper's here to take his toll. In death you are lifted free, there's no one coming back, ya see." And at this point, a man who has been just kind of like tying knots in fishnets. He wasn't really tied down with belongings like the others, but he was tied down with chains, and these chains begin to snap, and he stands tall and turns to face the group. There's a sickle shining in his hand. You have a couple of options here. You can roll initiative, or you can try to run for the ship.
Is the soul between us and the ship?
No, he's kind of near the frontish of the village, but he's still close enough to you guys that he's within danger distance.
What would be that distance versus how far is it to the ship?
If you were to sprint to the ship in a couple of turns, you'd probably make it. He's covered in chains and fishnets. He's not especially fast. So you could probably beat him there. And I'm not sure what you'll find there. You're not sure what you'll find there, but maybe there is a place to hide.
Woody's going to instinctively start taking steps that direction, kind of looking back at what the two brawny types of the group, how they are going to respond, afraid that their instinct is going to be to immediately jump into a fight. But instinctually, Woody is already not turning and full facing that direction, but taking steps towards the ship while kind of keeping an eye on our friend with the sickle.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh,
Okay.
I said go for it.
So at seeing this individual who's looking threatening, Cap is going to shout over his shoulder to Bulg, "Permission to give everyone else time to get away."
Gotta heroically sacrifice yourself and you're already dead. Look, we know you want to die in a legendary manner, okay? But sometimes...
I was robbed!
He definitely looks threatening, though, this chained and netted gentleman.
For
Okay,
DM
alright.
transparency, this is the version of the Reaper for this world.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
well, that's worrisome.
Oh, that
As
might
Woody
be a
continues
problem.
to just take steps away.
So, looking at him as he is, it doesn't appear that he's a... Well, okay. I don't want to get too meta.
Oh, don't bother getting meta with me because I homebrew my own enemies all the time. So.
Yeesh. Oh, boy.
Our
Is he
DM
60 feet away
outside.
from me? Arguably.
Yeah,
Bulg's been at sea a long time. He can estimate distances.
40 feet, I want to say.
Bulg is just gonna cast Hold Person on him. The thing.
Sure. Give me a roll for that. Someone...
It's a Wisdom save on your end.
Oh, it's a wisdom save on my end. Awesome. Thank you.
DC is 13.
DC 13. That's not what I meant to click. Sorry about this. It's on the wrong page.
Bulg wants everybody to know that this is the only option. And then Bulg is showing his furry little heels.
Once again, DM transparency here. He rolled a 20, so he's still shuffling across.
He does not appear to be held. Well, you can't fault Bulg for trying.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's still
Bit
kind of
valiant try,
walking.
bosun.
Nothing. I was responding.
Yeah.
What are we? Bulg's gonna take off after he tries to. This is beyond Bulg's ken, and this is a fight that he needs to be more prepared for. And that ship could at least offer a good defensive position. So Bulg's gonna take to his heels. If you value your lives, messmates, you'll be running for that ship. I think this be a fight beyond our ken, and also perhaps we can turn that into a defensible position. Bulg, I'll see you there. Good luck.
At this, Cap is gonna kind of like look back and
It's
forth.
not that Bulg's a coward. He's just a pragmatist.
Yeah, he's gonna look back and forth a few times and just sound shit, and then just run after Bulg.
So the whole group is turning tail and running towards the ship. All right. Yeah, you can easily outrun this man. You can hear his chains rattling behind him as he attempts to keep up with you. You get to this ship. All right, let me get this. So you arrive at this ship. It's broken in several areas, like, you know, when ships bow and break in half as they fall to the bottom of the ocean. That's what you're kind of dealing with here. There's nothing really defensible that you can see straight away, but eventually you do kind of run into this doorway. And the doorway leads into what you might guess is a brig, but it seems to be the most intact thing here.
Is there... Okay, so you said there's like a brig, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a doorway and a set of stairs going into this broken up ship.
Okay. All right. Cap is gonna turn to Bulg and be like, "I've got like half an idea."
Idea away, Mr. Foulhorn.
All right.
I'm all ears.
I got this net. There's this brig. I can. Is the door something that it looks like I could hide behind?
It is a double door. It will open inward into the brig.
Oh, okay. Okay. Somehow we use net plus me plus brig. Hold him down. And the rest of you all do your thing.
Aye, maybe if Mr. Tullamore gets down on all fours behind him, we can tabletop the bastard. And wrap him in a net and throw him in the
All
brig.
right. It sounds
Wait,
like
is,
we've got 3/4 of an
Is he
idea
still
now.
Is he still following us? Out of curiosity.
He's a ways behind you all, but yeah, he's rattling.
Maybe we just close the door.
I think that's a better idea, Bosun.
Aye, all in favor of closing the door. Go inside. Let's close the door.
I.
Hey.
We'll
So
put the tabletopping thing on the back burner.
Look, we're eventually gonna have to fight this thing. Like,
Out of character, I really want to try that. I'm just saying.
We will probably have to eventually fight this thing. Yes.
So, you all kind of scurry down these stairs. Oh, throw wide these double doors. Close them from the inside. That's when we're going to take our break, as the party huddles in the brig away from the Reaper. We're going to take it 8 minutes. Hope you're here when we get back, because there's going to be more pirate shenanigans. See you soon.
Woo.